In a small town where the streets were drowned in greenery and the houses looked as if they came from paintings, there lived a boy named Jack. He was 16, and he dreamed of many things: adventure, travel, and of course, his first love. Jack was a quiet and humble young man who spent his time reading books about great romances and exploring the world through the prism of his imagination. One day, in the spring when everything around him was in bloom, he noticed Emily. She was a new student at school, and her brightly colored hair, like sunbeams, caught the attention of all the boys. Emily was energetic and cheerful. She knew how to make people smile even when they were in a bad mood. Jack was fascinated, but his shyness held him back. One day after school, Jack saw Emily sitting on a park bench, drawing something in her notebook. His heart beat faster, and he gathered the courage to walk over to her. "Hi, I'm Jack. May I sit down?" he asked, trying to look confident. Emily smiled and nodded. From that day on, they started seeing each other every day after school. Jack was amazed at how easy it was for them to communicate. They shared their dreams, fears, and even secrets. Emily told Jack about how she always wanted to be an artist and travel the world, and Jack talked about his ambitions to become a writer. Each day their bond grew stronger and stronger. They walked around the park, gazing at the stars, discussing books and movies. One day, sitting on the grass, Jack gathered his courage and, looking into Emily's eyes, said, I think I've fallen in love with you." Emily smiled and, without averting her gaze, replied, "Me too, Jack." From then on, their relationship became more serious. They exchanged notes at school, supported each other in difficult times, and dreamed of the future together. Jack began writing poems inspired by Emily, and she, in turn, drew portraits of their moments together. However, as is often the case, clouds appeared on the horizon. Emily informed Jack that her family was planning a move to another city. He felt his heart clench with grief. They had spent many evenings discussing how difficult it would be to part, but they decided that their love was worth fighting for. On the eve of her departure, Jack organized a farewell party for them. He decorated the park with lanterns, laid out plaid, and brought her favorite snacks. They sat under the starry sky and shared their dreams. "We'll be able to write to each other," Emily said hopefully. "And maybe one day we'll meet again," Jack replied, trying to hide his tears. When it was time to say goodbye, they hugged. Jack felt his heart breaking, but he knew this wasn't the end. "I'll always be with you," he whispered, and they kissed goodbye. A few months passed and Jack's life changed. He continued to write and dream, but Emily left a deep mark on his heart. Every night he would go outside, look up at the stars, and reminisce about the time they were together. He wrote her letters that he never sent, but they helped him deal with his longing. One day, in early fall, Jack received a letter from Emily. His heart filled with joy and excitement. In the letter, she talked about her new town, how she had started painting new pictures and dreaming of a great future. She always thought of him and hoped they could meet again. Jack answered her letter, and so began their correspondence that lasted for years. Although they couldn't see each other, their love continued to grow. They supported each other through difficult times and rejoiced in each other's successes. A few years later, when Jack had already entered university, he received unexpected news. Emily had returned to the city. He couldn't believe his ears and soon found her in the park where they first met. Emotions overwhelmed them when they saw each other. "I missed you," Emily said as she hugged Jack. He felt his whole heart fill with warmth. They spent long hours talking about their lives, how they had changed, yet remained the same people they knew. That evening, under the starry sky, Jack said again, "I still love you." Emily smiled and replied, "Me too." They realized that their first love, despite distance and time, was strong and true, and that a new chapter in their history together lay ahead.